Hello everyone, I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about what's next on the list. So let's get into it. I know that I sound like a broken record, y'all, that my first audiobook, the audiobook for my first novel, Love of the Sea, is coming soon, and that my 7th novel, Be Mine, is also coming soon. To give y'all a little bit of a peek behind the curtain into what's coming in the future for my writing projects as an author beyond these. So the reason why these are taking a hot minute is that we are at a choke point in the pipeline. With that, we are waiting on my cover art artist, which absolutely it will be worth the wait. I promise. Her cover art is gorgeous, y'all, and she is a person with a life and a job and her own responsibilities, so these things take time. And that unfortunately means that these projects are right now on hold because we're waiting on this part of the process before we can have that final push to the big release. And of course, because I'm not the kind of person to just sit on my hands while waiting on a project to move forward, because I'm incapable of doing such things, I am, of course, working on my 8th novel, the first book of my fantasy series. Unfortunately, I can't divulge a lot about that because it is an NDA project. I've talked about that in some of my previous videos and on my social media posts. Some of y'all may be thinking, well, you've been talking about these 3 projects a lot, but what else is there? Well, of course, y'all, I have my handy dandy list and my epic database of manuscripts, and I have them all in order. This was a prioritization project that I did several years ago where I sat down and cataloged all of my manuscripts, y'all. There are 97 unfinished manuscripts. And I went through them all and I prioritized them. So I actually sat down and decided, okay, we're going to do this one and then we're going to do that one and da-da-da-da-da. And sometimes depending on how I'm feeling, how I'm grooving in a project or what inspires me or whatever, those can like jostle a bit for placement. Maybe this one we take from slot 8 up to slot 6 or something. That happens. But for the most part, it's this chunk of projects are the next ones coming down the pipeline. So one of the projects that I've been working on behind the scenes bit by bit, and that I am going to be coming to the next part of the phase, which is researching the publishing service for this, is the Geisha Hands coloring book. So Geisha Hands is an illustrated novel that I wrote and illustrated myself that includes 47 color illustrations. I am so proud of each of these illustrations. I drew them by hand on the computer, and I thought it would be a really cute idea to put all of those illustrations together into a coloring book, especially because I've seen several other authors also create coloring books to go along with some of their novels that they feel are appropriate. And so that's something that I've been putting together, and will be researching a publishing platform that specializes in coloring books, specifically because I've seen people try to publish coloring books via Amazon, and the problem is that those are then printed on just normal book paper, which is not thick enough and is not the appropriate type of paper for coloring on, which is a big complaint that I see in a lot of the reviews of Amazon coloring books. People who publish through Amazon directly for these coloring books rather than people just selling coloring books on Amazon. There's a difference there. So I want to make sure that I actually go through a service that caters to creating coloring books rather than just, oh, I'm just going to like self-pub through Amazon or Ingram or something and have it not be on the right kind of paper and my readers be disappointed. So that is one of my background projects that I have been working on, and I really hope to finish that in the next year or two, but of course that's all dependent on my priority projects at the moment. Another item that I'm currently working on is my 8th poetry collection. I currently have 7 poetry collections, the Synesthesia series, and I am currently curating more of my original poems that have yet to be published into an 8th poetry collection, and this poetry collection is going to be titled Synesthesia river coins. So the theme of this is going to be like the coins that you put on dead man's eyes so that they can pay the boatmen on the river Styx. That is going to be the theme for this poetry collection, y'all. I am so excited to put this together. I can't wait to see what photography slash artwork that Brian wants to collaborate on to put together for this. It's going to be really, really cool, y'all. So be sure to stay tuned. That is also something that I'm hoping to publish within the next year or two. So stay tuned for that. Another item that I am working on in the background is a project that has been a long time coming. This is a particular piece that I wrote many years ago, and it's something that I just feel is a really important piece that I really want to have published, and I finally laid the groundwork for what this project needs in order to be able to move forward and be realized as a book. I am going to be publishing a novella titled Pumpkin Gin. This is going to be a very emotional piece, and it's very raw emotions from a different point in time in my life. It is not autobiographical. It's, again, another one of my stories where I kind of take bits and pieces and feelings from a particular part of my life and kind of inject that into a fictional story so that it's not exactly as is something that happened to me. It's more so the feeling, the vibe of something that happened to me. This piece is not yet finished. I still have to finish writing it, but it is basically a shorter work that I am going to make into a larger work of a novella. And I am looking forward to finishing that piece in the near future. It is something that is challenging to work on as it is such an emotionally charged piece, so it's very much that I need to be in the right state of mind to work on it so that it doesn't then sabotage the rest of my day and the rest of my productivity. But I am very excited to get this story out there, and it is on my priority to-do list for the near future. One of the strategies that I employ for publishing my novels is that I have crafted this strategy of publishing a novel, whether it's fantasy or historical fiction or something else, and then publishing a romance novel and going back and forth, novel, romance novel, novel, romance novel. And the reason why I've been doing that, I've talked about that in several of my other videos, is I found out from a big player in the romance industry that has many, many romance books. She said that the magical number you need to hit is 10 romance novels. That once you hit 10, that's when you really start to see the big bucks rolling in. And a big part of that is because of the way that romance readers function. They like to read one right after another, and they also want to feel that you are giving them that promise as the author that you're not just going to write one or two romance novels and then quit. Because they basically, once they latch on you as an author, they're like, I want another and another and another. And if they don't feel that they have that promise from you that you're going to keep writing them, they don't want to read any of them at all. They don't want to get hooked and then, like, all of a sudden the rug pulled out from under them. No more books, sorry, la la la. So I'm trying to hit that magic number. As of right now, I currently have 3 romance novels published, and I want to eventually get to that magic number 10, but I also don't want to deprioritize my fantasy novels and my historical fiction novels that I have in the pipeline that I also really want to write. And I found this going back and forth really helps solve that problem so I can get to that magic number 10, but keep my other novels also moving forward. And with that, the next romance novel that I am going to be putting out after book 1 of the fantasy series, I haven't made up my mind yet, y'all, because this is still, like, up in the air. I still have a whole other novel to write first before I have to make this decision, y'all, so it's gonna be a hot minute before it's officially like, yep, we're going with this. But the 2 romance novels that I'm currently kind of playing with, I'm kind of being like, ooh, who's gonna be the winner? Who's gonna be novel number 9? Is between Clover Companion and Learning to Walk. I really love both of these novels, y'all. They are both so intense. They are both so much fun. I'm having a lot of fun playing with them the way that I did Be Mine, kind of having them be my side piece distraction. Clover Companion is going to be a sci-fi themed romance novel with kind of the whole AI, like, robot lover companion sort of thing going on. And Learning to Walk is going to be the sequel to Freya's Baby. Specifically Freya's Baby, because Freya's Baby Shattered is an alternate storyline to Freya's Baby, so this sequel is specifically to Freya's Baby. Freya's Baby Shattered does not have a sequel. I've been playing with these two because a lot of people have been asking for the sequel to Freya's Baby. A lot of people know about Learning to Walk and they very much want that novel. But I also am having a lot of fun with Clover Companion, and I also have a different group of fans who are really excited for that book too, so they're both vying for my attention. I don't know which one's going to win out for novel number 9 right now, but one of them's going to be novel number 9 and one of them's going to be novel number 11. I can guarantee y'all that. We're just going to figure out which one's going to win that race, so we'll just have to see. It's a bridge we'll cross once we get there, but both of them are in the background and I'm having a lot of fun with both of them. Of course, novel number 10 will be book 2 of my fantasy series, because I do want to make sure that I really do jumpstart getting my fantasy series out there. I'm probably going to do it where I'm going to get to at least book 3 or 4 before then, when I do that rotation of novel, romance novel, novel, romance novel, that I'll then do a different fantasy or historical fiction novel. But once we get to that point, I'm basically, again, I have two kind of vying for my attention, for I don't know which one we're going to do before the other. We will see. Again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, because that one's in the further future. However, I do have 2 novels that have piqued my interest that are relatively next on the list, and they are the last ones in line for the immediate priority list, because again, y'all, I have 97 unfinished manuscripts. It is a long list, and they are prioritized out also like in chunks, like this chunk and then that chunk, where they can kind of vie for place in that chunk, but they're going to live in that chunk. We're not going to take manuscript number 97 and bring it all the way up here. We're not doing that. Like, they've been prioritized the way they have for a reason. But in last place of this particular priority chunk is a fantasy novel that I know, like, a big part of my audience will be really excited about, is that I have decided to do a prequel to Succumb to Darkness. I don't want to give too many details yet, because this is like so much in the further future, but it is going to be a prequel basically kind of about the vampire court prior to the whole blood shortage problem and just all of that. So really excited for that, y'all. It's going to be really, really beautiful and cool. So that's going to be in the mix. And then another one that I have actually talked about in the past, and the reason why this one has gotten kind of pushed down the list, is because it is going to be so much work. It's going to be so much work, y'all. Oh my god. Like, I'm going to have to put aside all my side pieces and only focus on this one when this one's finally on the official work table, because wow, y'all, this is going to take a lot of time and energy and focus. Is I am going to be doing a historical fiction of Marie Antoinette. I already have the beginnings of this manuscript written. I already have just like all of this research earmarked and like outlined out and everything. Like, I have the whole book already all outlined out, and I have a huge chunk of it already written. It's just a very slow process because this is a historical fiction novel. Historical fiction novels take me so much longer to write, because you have to also do all this research and you have to double check the research to make sure that what you're writing is correct, because I'm very much like, I want to make sure stuff is correct. And that's why Geisha Hands took me so long, y'all. It took me 3 years of intensive writing and research to finish the manuscript. And that's on the back end of years of research into the Japanese history and culture, and also specifically the history and culture of geisha. So this is going to be a few years of intensive research and writing of Marie Antoinette, piggybacking off of my intensive research of that time period and those people, because it is one of my pet obsessions. Like, oh my god, y'all, the amount of Marie Antoinette, like, books and movies and TV shows that I have watched is just obscene, y'all. It's also one of my favorite cosplays that I do. Like, y'all, Marie Antoinette has a special place in my heart. And so that is, of course, a novel that I have a high level of interest in writing, but it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. So we're gonna have to be patient with that one. but it will get done, because if there's anything that I can promise y'all, it's that my projects get done. They do. It may take a while, but they get done. So now we have this enormous list going on of all of these things that are in my immediate priority chunk. And of course, there is a giant list. Tip of the iceberg, y'all. Like, there is a huge list below that in the waters of my inspiration and my database. So I just wanted to give y'all a little peek behind the curtain in what is going on with my projects. I know that I've been talking endlessly about my current projects, and so it's a little fun to be like, well, what are you doing besides that? This is what I'm doing behind the scenes besides that, in order to like keep my sanity in check, give myself a little break to be able to do something that has lower priority, less pressure, and just la la la, we're having a nice time kind of stuff. So really excited to work on these projects in the near future. Let me know which ones in the comments y'all are most excited for. Y'all know I always love hearing from y'all. I always love knowing what projects really grab people's attention, so stay tuned for all of that. I want to thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're new, subscribe. Alright y'all, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye!